welcome to my YouTube channel. This is your girl Bunny. I'm really excited for this video. We are going to speak about a few tips on how we should actually gear up when it comes to the safety of our kids. So if you are a parent or a guardian who is thinking of even sending your kids off the holidays, please do make sure to watch this video. It's going to help you in the preparation of allowing your kids to travel. As we all know, the holiday season is up right now. Most of our kids are done with exams, and for those who are not done, it's just a matter of days. And then usually this is a time of festivity, this is a time of traveling, but unfortunately this is also a time where a whole lot of things happen, bad things happen. And unfortunately, looking at the happenings around us in our country, for an example, we have been seeing that a whole lot of things, bad things has been happening to our small ones. So this video is there to actually help you guys with some tips which will protect your kids when they travel, or which will protect your kids when you send them off to their grandparents and their aunties and people, when you send them off for the holidays. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the topic. Okay, so as per usual, my notes are down. If you see me looking down, that's because that's where my notes are. So I think there are a few questions that you should ask yourself as a guardian or a parent before actually sending your kids off, especially if you are not going to be around or part of the traveling. It's important to ask yourself certain questions before allowing them to go. Okay, the first question you should definitely ask yourself is, where are these kids going? At whose house are these kids going? How well do you know, or what is the relationship that you are having with the person where your kids are going? How well do you know the person? Is it just a colleague perhaps, or is it just a church member? Is it somebody that you have a real good relationship with, somebody who can be giving you feedback when you call the kids and you want to find out how they are doing? Is it somebody who is really responsible? I think it's very, very important for us to ask such questions before sending our kids off. Okay, and then the other important thing is also look at the environment of the house where your kids are going to go and stay for the holidays. Is it a safe environment? Who has access to this house? Where is the house located? Is it located close to a bar? If it's, for an example, located close to a bar, is it secured in terms of a boundary wall or in terms of a yard where your kids can stay inside without actually them running off to the bar? Because we all know as a festive season, people are out there having a good time, they're drinking and all that. If that is the case, I rather you would not send your kids to there, especially if you are not around, unless if you are 110% sure that the person who you are sending the kids with is 24/7 going to be there, or it at least is responsible enough to allocate somebody in case when they are there to look after these kids. Okay, and then it's very, very important also to know, as I said, you should have a good relationship with the person where you are sending your kids. It's important for you to know where your kid is going to sleep. For an example, I believe that boys shouldn't sleep with girls. I should know exactly where my child is going to sleep. And this is important because a whole lot of things happen even between the kids. Unfortunately, it does happen where the older ones might want to take advantage of the younger ones. So it's important for you to know exactly where your child is going to sleep. Ne? And then so growing up, I've witnessed this happening quite a lot, especially to my Vambu side, where when a baby is born, parents' friends would jokingly come and say and crack jokes such as, no, this is my husband. How is my husband doing? If it's a boy, for an example, how is my husband doing? And then they would bring along stuff, they will bring stuff to the child, you know, whenever they probably come back from work. They would bring a sweet and say, "Han okareke hano konsane gwanje, okareke hano konsane gwanje, please ganja konsane gwanje." Or they would say, "No, on teti when okana kanje take onsane gwanje te anenyano etutaron gwanje," then the child would visit that house. Now I understand that this is a joke, but then this is just my opinion when it comes to those things. I think that we should be really, really careful, because when kids are exposed to such jokes from an early age, they develop a relationship with this person. They start going to this person's house. I'm not saying the person might hurt the kid, but what I'm against is this kid start getting comfortable sitting, for an example, on this person's lap. And then the issue here is, once the child get comfortable going to that house, what happens in the absence of the wife, Ane? Because this child start getting used to sitting on people's lap, then they start getting used to sitting at the laps of people from that house, and then they start getting used to people, to this family, you know, touching on them and playing with them and stuff like that. And sometimes it can lead to danger, you know. So that is just my opinion. I might be wrong, guys, please don't come for me. But then this is also something that I think we should discuss on in the comment section, because I think that making such jokes, especially to an extent where the child is now grown, the child now voluntarily goes to that house because they know now that that person has a relationship with their parents. They go to that house, and then they start getting used to sitting on the person's lap and things like that. I just don't feel like it's something we should encourage, but I could be wrong as well. So, and then the other thing is, let's avoid if there's an event happening where you are sending off your child. I think it's a little bit better for you to avoid sending off your child, for an example, if there is a wedding happening. Reason being is, we all know how busy it gets. Now the child might be going to somebody who's really responsible, somebody who will take good care of them, will make sure they are fed, will make sure they bath before going to bed, will make sure that their hygiene is taken care of. But then in most cases, when there are events at, say for an example, an aunt's house where your child is going, the possibility of that aunt not paying 110% attention to the child is there, not because they are being irresponsible, but obviously because of how busy the event is keeping them. So it's important for us to make sure at least that if there is an event or a wedding, if you can't attend to take care of the child, please just avoid sending the child up until maybe the event is over. So now, before we leave, before you send off your kids, let's create good relationships with our kids, okay? Good relationships where we find out how their day is, because most of us, I understand, most of us goes to work, and by the time we come back, probably you might find your child tired, or we just leave them with the nannies and so forth. For the ones who can speak, create that relationship with the child. Find out how their day was, find out what it is that they were doing, find out if there was anybody probably touching on them inappropriately and stuff like that. For those who cannot speak, if I mean it's just a baby or a toddler or whatever, after work, take the bath the child, do some observations physically, you know. I'm not saying now if you find a mark that means the child is being abused or whatever, but what I'm saying is, look at the child's body, observe the child body, observe if there are any marks and things. I mean, if you are definitely leaving them with somebody, a nanny or whatever, they should be able to explain when you ask questions about, oh, how did the child get this scarring, for an example. They should be able to give you an answer that will satisfy you, okay? And then For the kids, for teenagers, or older kids, explain to them the dangers of also going to people's houses. As we all know, there are perverts out there, there are people who could harm kids out there. So it's important for you to explain to them why it is that you are telling them to stay off the streets, for an example, and not just be calling them to come back, to come into the house, without explaining to them the possible dangers out there. Okay. And then let's avoid, for the kids who are also staying, let's avoid having unnecessary or allowing our kids to go to unnecessary sleepovers. If you eventually allow your kids to go out there for a sleepover, whatever, I feel it's important first to go and speak to the parents, to go and also just inspect where their child is going. But otherwise, just make sure before saying yes to a sleepover, you do have a relationship with the parent of where your child is going to sleep, and the environment, or how these people communicate in their houses, because we all know that we all have different beliefs, we all have different practices in our homes. So if you get comfortable enough to send your child, then at least you make that effort of just going out there and just observing, and just first trying to understand or learn the environment in which your child is going to go. And then just build a relationship with the child. Try to ask questions, when they want to go, if it's the older ones, probably in high school or whatever, when they want to go to the mall, for an example, for movies with their friends and stuff like that, ask questions, tell them to send location. I mean, our world has evolved and technology really is making things easier. Tell your child to if you can't drop them off, whatever, tell them to send you location, tell them to send you a text of the taxi number. We just want our kids to be safe by all means. Okay. And then the other thing is also, the only thing we can really do is to pray as parents or guardians. The only thing is to pray and ask the Lord to keep protecting us, because the reality of the matter is the world is just, people are evil, and there are people out there really who do take advantage of our kids. And as I said, we also can't have 110% control over our kids. However, I feel like if we pray for them, if we keep praying for them, I mean, the Lord has been protecting them all these years, and the Lord can and will continue protecting them. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope that you have picked 1 or 2 tips on how you should prepare your child for the holiday seasons. Let's keep the comment section busy when it comes to what I said about the jokes that we parents make. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. For those of you who did not subscribe, please do subscribe. Okay. And for those of you guys who have already subscribed, thank you so much guys for the love. Thank you so much for being there for me, for choosing me over and over again. And I'm definitely going to see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.